So excited to be back with you all to present another nutrition webinar. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alexandria Zozos and I'm EatLove's lead dietitian. If you are not familiar with EatLove yet, you will be by the end of our call today. But before we get there, we are going to be talking about Rise and Nourish breakfast nutrition and making the most of your morning. I actually just got off another webinar before this, and it was very heavy breakfast emphasized as well through protein and balanced breakfast. So that's really what we're going to talk about today. And then, as always, I'm going to stay on for the last bit and review the benefit that you have as a Hemophilia Outreach Center member. So if you haven't created your profile yet, you're able to connect with your team at HOC and they can send you an invite. But I'm going to put my contact information, hello@eatlove.is, for any EatLove related questions as we go through this. And then feel free to just list questions as we go. But let's dive into our breakfast. So does breakfast really matter? It's a really important question and one that I get asked often because someone may say, I'm not a breakfast person. I'm just not hungry in the morning, or whatever those reasons may be. So does breakfast really matter? There's a lot of benefits to breakfast. So breakfast is going to help support your energy levels throughout the day, improve concentration and focus, and reduce extreme hunger later in the day. Can also increase your nutrient intake. So every time you sit down to eat a breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, any type of meal, it's an opportunity for fueling. And so finding a routine that works for you. And one of those, going back to the does breakfast really matter piece of it, of course, these benefits are fantastic. And when I hear from individuals that say, I'm just not a breakfast person, I'm not hungry in the morning, it usually stems from a routine that has been created through habit over time. And an example I really like to use with this is, let's say you started a new job and you have to get into the office a little bit earlier than when you started in your last job. So you, without wanting to be late or run into traffic, you leave that morning without breakfast. It's just something that you just run out the door. It's new to routine. You're just trying to get there, make a good impression, and you're not really thinking about having a balanced breakfast. You're pretty hungry on that first day because you usually do get breakfast, or maybe you don't. And you get there and you're like, oh, well, I'm hungry, but I can't really break until lunch. And then you just break at lunch. So the next morning, same thing happens. You're running a little bit late, want to make a good impression, you miss breakfast again. That habit over time can actually stop your body asking for fuel. And it just isn't something that when you do start reintroducing that breakfast or a meal that you didn't typically have before, you tend to find that you may actually be hungrier. And that's what's so interesting about it, is that your body is now like, thank you, I'm getting fuel, I'm feeling nourished. I actually want a little bit more. So what do I say that breakfast matters? I think it absolutely does matter. There's very few reasons as to why I wouldn't recommend breakfast for anyone, just because of the benefits that you're going to see and the opportunity to increase your nutrient intake. And usually if you're not getting enough protein and fiber, particularly, breakfast is going to be that missing link. It's something that's so simple that you can do. You can increase your intake gradually and come up with some really fun combinations to get started for having a really good morning routine. So just to kind of show you in a graph format how breakfast can impact the rest of your day, if we take a look at the graphic on the left, energy over time in the morning. So we see our high energy, our low energy, and then that time frame. So 7, 9, 11, 1 p.m. Without no breakfast, high sugar, it's kind of keeping us going. We're going to see that. We're going to see that crash. Breakfast is that opportunity to replenish energy after an overnight fast. You've already fasted. Could be up to 12, 15 hours even, depending on the last time you got something to eat the night before. Maybe it was an early dinner, maybe it was a later dinner, but our body is already in a fasted state when we wake up. So what we want to do is start replenishing it as early as possible so that we get all those key benefits. Common causes of that overnight crash are going to be that long overnight fast into not replenishing. A refined carbohydrate breakfast can also lead to this energy dip here, this crash, this dotted red line. Not enough protein or fiber, that I cannot emphasize enough. Dehydration, poor sleep, also going to impact that. So what can happen if we aren't refueling is that we're going to have low energy, we're going to have difficulty concentrating, we're not really going to be our best selves for work, for our families, for our personal lives. And it's also going to increase our cravings. So if we do have that breakfast, what does that timeline look like? What does our energy look like? One, we're going to have a lot more of it. So that curve rises and it actually rises higher. And what does it do? It actually stays steady a little bit longer. We're well into 1 p.m. here, which is usually where we pick up lunch. And then we would pick up that steady energy all over again until we get to dinner or our next snack that we have planned. So having that well-balanced breakfast can impact this, and it's going to have an effect on the rest of our day. We really want to start the day with a means to go on, how we plan to build that, because otherwise we're playing catch up and trying to get enough energy or trying to get enough fiber, or trying to get enough protein and healthy fats in with smaller opportunity windows becomes increasingly more difficult, that we end up probably not meeting those targets, and that cycle continues the following day. So really take a good look at your schedule and see if there's any improvements that you can make from that piece. So the formula breakfast, what is my go-to? Like every single day I have something, or and I like to reinvent it. So like chia seed pudding, overnight oats that I like to make in the morning, kind of an oxymoron, but they all taste the same. Egg breakfast. I like to do French toast on the weekends. I like to pack homemade pancakes with a lot of healthy fats and a lot of fiber. So what does that breakfast formula usually look like? Protein, first and foremost, supports fullness and energy. We are targeting at least 20 to 30 grams per meal, generally speaking, but we don't want to skimp out on that protein at breakfast, because we're going to be right back where we are with this influx and then quick crash after it. Fiber, carbohydrate, fiber-rich carbohydrates, providing that sustained energy. So that can look like avocados, that can look like fruit, that can look like granola, like homemade granola that's made from oats, could be nuts and seeds, could be like flax seeds and chia seeds are in my breakfast in one way or another. You can put them in virtually anything. Healthy fats too can be the way that you prepare your dishes. So how you're sauteing your eggs, or a Greek yogurt could have some healthy fats to it, nuts and seeds as well. So aiming for at least 2 of these 3 categories, ideally 3 if you can, at breakfast, but making sure that you are not skimping on that protein and fiber. So some examples that I have listed here are going to be eggs and a whole grain toast and avocado that hits everything. Eggs have fats and protein. Your bread is going to have whole grains and carbohydrates, and then your avocado is going to be healthy fats. So it hits everything there. Greek yogurt, berries, and nuts, same deal. Oatmeal, peanut butter, and fruit, also a really great, easy option that you can prepare ahead of time. So why that protein matters. So I love this graphic because it really exemplifies one approach to breakfast versus another, and how you're going to feel later on in the day. So a typical breakfast that may be low in protein may include coffee, pastry, toast with some jam. Very few grams of protein, 5 to 10 grams. You're hungry again in probably 30 minutes, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say 1 to 2 hours. It's going to be really filling. At the time, it's going to be probably pretty sugary, regardless of what you put in your coffee, but that muffin and even the jam itself, not really prioritizing protein and fiber for that matter. Your muffin, unless it's a whole grain muffin, is probably refined grains as well. Not to say that you can never have any of these things, but I would pair, like if I wanted to have a pastry, I would pair it with a Greek yogurt or a hard-boiled egg or something else that's going to drive that protein up, because I do enjoy a good pastry, and I certainly enjoy some toast with jam as well. But instead, having that higher breakfast, a Greek yogurt and berries, or eggs and toast, or a protein smoothie, is going to have that staying power for steadier energy. We're going to hit that 20 to 30 grams of protein, no problem. And what does that look like for our energy battery? We are now at peak performance. We are ready to go. We are ready to take on the day. So protein in the morning is going to have that effect for having that steady energy all morning long. So common breakfast myths, which is, I love myth busting. So some of these things, Breakfast must happen immediately after waking up. This is going to be your schedule. Not to say that it's the first thing you need to do, but if you can incorporate your breakfast with your coffee, and I have to remind myself of this one sometimes, going to be the best option. Caffeine is going to really wake you up for the day, but there's really no nutritional value in that. So it's only going to sustain you so long. It can actually act as an appetite suppressant. So we may not get as much as we want in terms of fueling or the right type of fueling at breakfast. But as long as you're having that with it and not using coffee alone as a breakfast because it is so low in nutrient value and absolutely not a meal in any way, shape, or form. Healthy breakfasts take a long time. That is my favorite myth. I think breakfast is the least amount of time I spend on a meal ever. It's something that you can have ready in your fridge if you're buying fresh fruit on a weekly basis, if you're replenishing a Greek yogurt or a cottage cheese. Put those two together and you have a really solid foundation to get started. If you want to add a little bit of oats to either one of those, it's going to give you a bit more energy, complex carbohydrates, and that fiber piece. But breakfast can take, I always like to joke, shouldn't take longer than it takes to toast your bread in your toaster oven. 3 to 5 minutes. Simple. You can be done and dusted with that breakfast, and it's going to be a great option to get started with. And then skipping breakfast automatically slows metabolism. Not necessarily true. There's a lot of factors that impact it, but it certainly isn't helping. So some of the reality is going to be timing can be flexible, work with your schedule. Coffee, like I said, is going to provide that jolt of energy, but does not provide those nutrients that your body needs. And many breakfasts going to take 5 minutes or less. Like toast that bread, get out whatever else you need, put it in a bowl, wait for it to finish, add some jam, add some peanut butter, add whatever you want to that toast, and you are good to go. But it should be quick and something that you can make ahead of time. And I love getting creative with this. If you can make something in advance or make multiples, like chia seed pudding, something that could last all week in individual containers. Overnight oats could be a really good one. This week, I made something brand new that I'm really excited about, and it's summer, so we have lots of summer vegetables. Our neighbors are tossing around vegetables they're growing in their gardens that are super tasty. So we have an abundance of summer squash right now, which is not something I would typically turn towards for breakfast unless I'm having an omelet or scrambled eggs or something that would require a vegetable. But I tried an oatmeal bake this week that is also in the EatLove platform that I can show you. And it was grated summer squash in this oatmeal bake with oats, peanut butter, chia seeds, flax seeds, baked it for like 30 minutes in the oven. And I have this giant like casserole dish of these oatmeal squares that has been my breakfast all week. And on top of that, you can add some Greek yogurt, or I have a hard-boiled egg to go with it later this morning. So a really great, fun way to pick one thing, make it on Monday, make it on Sunday, and you have it for the rest of the week. So that's what this slide is going to talk about, making breakfast easier. So what can you do the night before? I'm not one that is going to like live by meal prepping. I do live by meal planning. I love picking a couple of dishes each week, and I love picking a new breakfast if possible. I will always have yogurt and I will always have fruit in my fridge. So if I don't plan something or I get too busy, I always have something I can grab really quickly. But if I wanted to hard boil my eggs to make that grab and go really easy, you can have those set up for the week. You can portion out your fruit and yogurt if you want to make it even easier, top it with some nuts. Overnight oats is something you can do the night before. You can do days ahead so you have it ready to go. You could even make smoothies ahead of time and store them in your freezer, and the night before take it out and then put that one in your fridge. And it should thaw overnight and be ready to go and more smoothie texture for you whenever you do get to that morning. And at work, you can also make it easy. So you can keep protein bars or nuts or oatmeal packets or trail mix available for things when you're running late. If you don't have a breakfast bar or anything, I call these emergency snacks. Always keep them possible as a dietitian. I have food 24/7. There's like you never know when that hunger is going to hit, and I am not super friendly when I get hangry. So having something that's quick and easy that you can grab on hand, whether it's in your purse, your car, that's not going to melt in the summer heat. But a simple breakfast is better than a perfect breakfast. So that's why I always say consistency is going to reign supreme over perfection any day of the week, because you could have the most perfect week of eating. But if you cannot replicate elements of that into week 2, into week 3 and beyond, where week 4 doesn't resemble anything that you did in week 1, you're just going to be in this constant cycle of starting and restarting. I would rather you reduce the number of expectations and meals that you keep yourself accountable for, replicate that the second week, replicate it again in the week 3. So do 3 meals for 3 weeks and then increase by 1. Do 4 meals for 2 weeks, increase by 1, whatever that looks like for you, but remove some of that pressure of perfection because it doesn't exist. It absolutely does not exist. And when we talk about meal planning and prepping, generally speaking, I'm someone that will plan 4 to 5 dishes a week. That is a breakfast, that is a lunch, 1 of each, and then 2 to 3 dinners with 2 days of leftovers. And that is it. Usually those look like a fish dish, a other protein like a chicken or a pork or a turkey, like meatloaf or something like that. And then usually like a vegetarian dish that I sometimes get to, sometimes don't get to, but usually it comes from the pantry. So if I don't get to it, I'll just rotate that into next week's plan as well. So how do we build better breakfasts? This EatLove is a resource that all of you guys have access to. So if you haven't created your profile yet, it's definitely something that I'd reach out to your team about at HOC to get that invite over to you. And then you can start receiving meal recommendations 24/7. Anytime you log in, you have something that's balanced for your health and wellness goals. So you can explore balanced breakfast, which I'll show you today. You can filter by dietary preference. You can generate your grocery lists for automatically adding those to your list, getting it delivered if that's part of your routine. I know it's definitely part of mine. Making meal swaps while maintaining those nutrition goals and finding quick options for quick, busy mornings. So I'm going to share my screen and highlight over here what that looks like. All right, so what we are looking at is your meal feed. Think of this as Spotify for food. Instead of music and playlists that are coming through, you have a playlist of meals, that match your nutrition profile. So in this case, I have a general healthy diet selected. That's going to show me nutrient targets for my macros, my proteins, fats, and carbs. It's also going to show me my minimums for fiber that I should be getting on a daily basis. So here's my nutrition plan. You can see that we do have a ton of options and goals in here: anti-inflammatory, women's health, GLP-1s, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, this mind diet, lots of really great options in here. Your meal pattern, what does your meal schedule look like, down to how many eating opportunities you have. In this case, I have 5. I have 2 snacks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And your care team can help set this up for you between the time schedule, even the titles. Of pre-workout breakfast is unique to me. And then your daily totals, your macro breakdown. So I have a good balance of macros in here, minimum on desirable things. So minimums, fruits, vegetables, fiber, and a maximum on less desirable things, still important, but less desirable if you exceed that consistently. So saturated fat, I have set to less than 10% of my daily intake of my fat intake. Sodium, I have less than 2,300 milligrams. So a maximum of those. In added sugar as well, which usually never comes anywhere close to 25 grams because we are a food first platform. So your daily recommendations are going to filter in based on that prescription. So if I just go ahead and expand this here and show you what that could look like, if I click on my daily targets up here, I can see just how I am doing with all of those targets. And the great thing about this is I don't have to do any of that calculation or math myself. It is built into the baseline and core technology and functionality of EatLove. But what we can't plan for is, what do you want to eat in the moment? Do you have those things on hand? Did you shop early enough? Do I want something else or a different meal? We always have the opportunity for you to quick swap. You could do a refresh button really quickly in here. You could also hit swap from this option and go into our smart choices and keyword search. If you're looking for something really specific like salmon, everything that you see here is going to match your nutrition requirements. So you could say, okay, salmon, and then I also have a specific type of vegetable, or I don't have Brussels sprouts, but I have broccoli, and that's pretty close. So I'll schedule this one as like a pencil it in, and I'll use broccoli instead. So utilizing these recipes as a framework is definitely going to be key in getting started, and you can search for anything that you have on hand. We also have restaurant meals that are based on geolocation. So if you popular food chains or restaurants, sit down restaurants, what can you eat at Starbucks that's going to be a smart choice for your nutrition goals? And that's going to light up in green. So really great options, whether you're at home, whether you're on the go, keeps you within your targets, with really the biggest question for you to answer is, do I like this meal and do I want to prepare time to eat it? Now, as I mentioned, we do not need to plan for the full week in advance. You can customize your schedule, your preferences as to what meals you want to drip in first, who's eating, so that they are portioned. So Linda and her partner are eating breakfast and dinner together, but not morning snack, lunch, and afternoon snack. So when we add it to our grocery list, it will add and scale appropriately for who's eating what when with the appropriate leftover servings. The goal here is you're not have to calculate anything. That's just going to be done seamlessly for you. Under diet, if you have a specific diet type, allergies and avoidances, you can add more if you want to. Taste preferences will include things that you like to eat if you want to type those in, cuisine specifics, and then cooking and shopping is kind of the bread and butter. What type of kitchen equipment do you have? Number of days that you want to see meals drip in. Do you care about organic? Do you want ready-made meals? So we have a partnership with Sunbasket as well. Time to make meals and even simple recipes, leftovers, cooking skill, all of that. It's preferences on top of nutrition, prescription, or profile, which accounts for almost 5 million dietary and lifestyle factors in less than a second. So really the only thing you have to answer is, do I want to eat this? If the answer is yes, you can add it to your grocery cart. If the answer is no, swap it for something else that you do want to have in the meantime. And that recipe will be scaled appropriately right within your grocery list. You can check off items you already have, especially under spices and condiments. You can add additional things if you want to. And then you can even buy online through one of our third-party integrations. Saves about 2 hours each week. Now, going through, you also have access to our Nutrition Academy, which is going to be built-in nutrition education that you can keyword search for specific handouts. We have lifestyle and cooking videos in here as well, how to chop, slice, dice popular vegetables, even pineapple, very much in season. But do I know how to chop a pineapple? Absolutely not. So these are helpful, like home economic videos, and some proteins at the bottom that you can see. The meal search is one of my favorite ways to plan. You'll see that we have a very large dietitian-approved recipe database up here, and you can use the keyword to search for specific items, and you can also use the filter. So we talked about nourishing breakfast, and we talked about a number range for protein. So maybe I want to select breakfast, and maybe I want to add protein as a minimum. Maybe I actually want a higher protein. So we're going to do the higher end minimum. So I can see in here that I have 85 results for the high-end protein breakfast. I can adjust that at any time. Maybe I want to see what it looks like with the lower end, and also add a fiber target. I always recommend 8 to 10 grams of fiber at breakfast. 146 with both of those, and you can see, no surprise, we're getting whole grains, we're getting oatmeal, we're getting smoothies. We're getting a lot of these heavy fiber dishes that you can make very high protein at the same time. So great ways to feel nourished, and even schedule these right into your meal feed, right like that. So all of these just look so delicious. So I love scheduling meals and finding unique dishes in here that I'm excited about making, and then popping those into my plan based on a theme. Like this week and last week was summer squash, as I had 3 or 4 recipes that had that as a core ingredient, because I think we have about 12 of those in the fridge at the moment. So you can use that to really find exactly what you're looking for. And then we do have the daily log as well. That's going to highlight your nutrition profile up here. It's color coordinated. So everything in white means you've hit your budget, or we don't really need to hit that budget, like added sugar or sodium. It will turn orange if you exceed the budget, but it'll stay white until you hit those minimums, or that maximum. And then for your macros, for your other fruits, veggies, fiber, again, they will stay white until you hit that target. This is telling me that I, in this case, let's reduce this to 2. pretty in line with my recommendations here. You can see at the top just a little bit over carbs and protein, but very, very minute reasons. This was a logged breakfast, just one that I went in and added myself. The rest are EatLove recommendations that you can simply say, yes, I ate this, or no, I didn't, or add what you did eat. So it's a combination of what you're planning for, what you ended up eating, and what is on the schedule. And that will help you come together with the actual targets that you're hitting to meet your health and wellness needs. So you'll see that in here. This is voice enabled as well. So you can always just type in or speak into your phone, 1 cup Greek yogurt, 1 cup blueberries, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, and hit log, and it's going to automatically log for you. So great way to gut check your meal or plan your breakfast that you usually eat, and then say, hey, EatLove, show me some lunch and dinner options that keep me within my budget for the day. Really great way to focus on what I call medically tailored eating 24/7 without it feeling like you're following a plan or really stressed about it, because you're going to have a ton of options, all nutrient dense, of course, and you can keyword search for exactly what you're looking for, and we'll show you smart choices within that filter. Excellent. So I'm going to pause there and see if we had any questions for today. Excellent. So I have my contact information in that chat. It's going to be hello@eatlove.is. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And if you haven't created your profile yet or haven't received your invite, contact your HOC team and they can get that invite over to you relatively soon. And you can start planning your meals, but it is a benefit included in your membership as an HO, as part of your community benefits at HOC. So completely free to you to use when you're not in session with your providers, and you can use when you're outside of it at the grocery store, at a restaurant. Really great ways to stay within your plan. But I will see you guys in a couple of months, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.